but we are super excited. This is a new episode, and this is the second episode on our first series called Build a Smarter OCR. So today we're going to talk about labels, right?
Yeah.
So we are going to look into three main topics. The first one is why bothering, so why data labeling is important, why we need it, especially if you want to train a machine learning model. And then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details of the process. It's a sticky process, as Davide knows very well, and also Valerio. It's very human intensive. I mean, this is the part of each machine learning pipeline development where the human is really in the loop, and we cannot really eliminate it. Thank God. Not yet. Okay. And finally, we're going to look into a labeling campaign. We're going to try to estimate the budget, understand a little bit more about quality control and how to harvest data. There's a lot. We're a little bit late, so we're going to try to squeeze everything into the next 15, 17 minutes. So any ideas on why data labeling is so important, Davide? Let's start from there.
It's important because supervised learning is not there yet. So supervised learning is the way for mainly every model that goes in production nowadays.
Yep.
And it's important. It's important to assess the quality of labels because the model will be based on those labels and will be affected to any bias that could possibly be, in that data set and in those annotations.
Right. Okay. And can we define what labeling is first off?
The first thing is having a data set, obviously. So having a data set of images, of text, or other things. But you don't have labels, so you don't have samples of answers to the task that you want to accomplish with your model.
Okay, very good. So let's take the example of our problem. We said the OCR. We need images, right? So we need data sets of images, and the labels in this case are specific highlights in these images. So can you please try to show an example from the work that we have been doing last week? Can you share an example? And the example is going to be an image. Okay, so we have an image in our database. This image is about a page of magazine or text. There could be a photo here, more text there, more text here, and so on. So you got the point. We just have a snapshot of a page, and then there are marks or highlights in certain parts of the page. And what we need to do is we want to generate labels. In this case, the labels are rectangles that will essentially tell the machine where the pattern that we want to recognize is. So some definitions. A sample, in this case, is an image. Then a pattern to recognize is the highlight. And the label is a rectangle circling the pattern. Now, the scope of the labeling annotation is to take thousands of these samples, so thousands of images, and ask a human to manually create these rectangles. So Davide, you tell me when you're ready with some samples, and you can share your screen.
Yeah.
I think I can make you presenter.
Yeah. I'm trying to share my screen.
Yeah. Okay, I'm adding you to the stream. Okay, what is this? What are we looking at, first of all?
Yeah,
This is
we're
a
looking.
cool tool, right?
Yeah,
Do you want to introduce it?
This is the tool that we use to share the dataset with the labeling workforce, so that they are able to annotate the different images in a very smooth way. So here we can see a sample, an image of an article.
Can you zoom in, please?
Yeah, I was trying to, but I'm not able to zoom more.
Maybe you just let's forget
browser.
about it. Yeah. Anyway, let's move forward. Doesn't matter. So
Yeah,
the
you can
important
see
thing.
these bounding boxes, these green bounding boxes around the highlights.
Yeah. Okay, so how many images did we annotate here?
We have 59 images.
Okay. So in practice, can you explain what happened here? What did you do here? How did you start this process?
Yeah, the first thing to do is to write an annotation protocol. And this protocol explains how you want that the workforce will label the data. So yeah, you have to think. You have to think about the process. I mean, every possible edge case and the main process that they need to perform to label the images. So yeah, Luca, do you have the annotation protocol? Or?
Yeah, but before doing that, let's understand a little bit more about how much time it was needed to get this done. How many people were involved? Do you have any details about this?
I don't think so. Do you
Okay.
think it's something that is available on supervisory, or?
Maybe, I don't know. How many bounding boxes do we have now? So while you're sorting it out, maybe Valerio and myself can talk a little bit more about the challenges, the typical challenges that arise during an annotation campaign. So what are the three main problems, Valerio? Can you think about anything very specific?
I think that the first problem is that while you that are on the problem know what is the final purpose of the model that you are going to build, who is annotating the images, maybe has never seen this kind of data.
Yes.
So you have to think. So you have to think a way to explain them in the simplest possible manner, how to annotate them, how to annotate data.
Okay, so clarity. So you need a clear brief.
Yeah, with as much example as you can, including all possible cases. Of course, you will never able to include all possible cases, but I mean,
okay. So the problems, another problem is edge cases,
yeah.
right? And the way to solve this issue is to present as many edge cases as possible and provide a resolution for these edge cases, right?
Yes, of course. And maybe a third problem is that we actually need tons of data in most of the cases. So maybe, I don't know if it is a problem or not, it's about costs.
Yes. Okay. Do we have an idea of how many images did we do in this round? You said 60, right?
Yeah, we have 60 images and 182 bounding boxes.
Okay, excellent. So do you have the protocol at hand, Davide? Otherwise, I can maybe search it myself. I just would like to.
I have this file. I don't know. Can you see my screen? Can you still see my screen?
Second. Yeah. There you go. Okay, so here we see a document. So the annotation protocol is just a way, it's just a document where we explain to other humans, other people, what the annotation job is all about. Okay, it starts with an annotation instruction. So in this case, I read with you guys. There is an image containing a page of a newspaper. This page contains highlights. Okay. And the task is to find highlights and label them with a bounding box, namely a rectangle. I imagine that there are examples then. Let's go through them. Okay, so here what do you do here, Davide?
Yeah, you can you show a positive example. So an example of how the work has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, we can see an article. And yeah, you have to locate the highlightings, and
yes,
yeah, you have to draw bounding boxes around them.
Excellent. And then what's next? Once we explained what they have to do, I imagine that there is also the explanation of what they don't have to do, right? So in this second page, and this is very crucial, okay? Because in the end, we're doing exactly the same thing that we will do later. We're going to train a machine learning model using these labels. But in this moment, we're training a human. And we're training a human to do something that on the paper, it's very simple. Just recognizing a pattern into an image and circling it with a bounding box. But in practice, it's not that simple because of the edge cases. So here we are showing the bad annotations and what a bad annotation is and a good annotation. And then later, Valerio, I think you did a good job in creating or listing edge cases, right? So if you can go down, Davide, maybe Valerio can explain a little bit more about this.
Yeah, for example, in this page, there is in this image, there is another page behind the front page. So in this case, we decided not to label the page the page behind, because it was not. I mean, it's not the focus, the goal of the task. Obviously.
Okay, so let's move forward. So there are probably other edge cases.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
for
similar.
example, I think that here there is a mark near the image. Maybe this could be a problem or not. I don't know.
Yeah, there is this truncated mark.
Okay,
here.
no.
Okay, very good. So I think we got the point, right? So there are. I mean, the devil is in the details, meaning that you absolutely need to resolve these edge cases before you even start allocating the campaign, because then once the campaign is run, it's run. You can't go back, and your investment is gonna exhaust. So let's yeah, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to add that moreover, when you have your annotation done, you can't check them. You can check all of them if they have been done correctly or not. So you have to trust the annotators, basically. This is another important aspect,
sure.
I think.
And I think, I mean, we're now getting towards the end of this episode. I think the most important decision then after budgeting is what kind of labeling services to use, right? Can we define two categories, where category one is a labeling agency versus a platform. And by platform, I mean AWS, Amazon Mechanical Turk. I mean other platforms like, for instance, Appen.
Yeah.
And other agencies like, for instance, Quantigo. So people that manage agencies, essentially what they do is they manage a workforce for you. So you don't need to do quality check, because in theory and also in practice, they do that quality control for you. While in here, when you are working on these unmanaged platforms, you have to create and put in place a quality control. It can be a programmatic and automatic quality control. So there are pros and cons that maybe we can flesh out in the next episode. So I would like to also say that we're gonna give away a template for creating briefs. I'm gonna share it right now with you guys. So this template is very helpful, because if you have to create a labeling dataset, you need to ask yourself all these questions, and this is just the beginning. So you have to define what the problem is. You have to understand what kind of labels you need, and more importantly, as Valerio was saying before, you need to share what is the objective of the model, what is the objective of your recognition model. Because otherwise, the people that are gonna accomplish the task won't fully understand why they have to do what they have to do. Before we wrap up, I would like to mention that in the next episode, we're gonna look into three things. Number one, we're gonna look into how to allocate these kind of labeling jobs to a workforce in practice, and we will do it first with an agency, and then with a platform. So we're going to look at the differences between these two environments. And then I'm going to give you an idea of the quality of the labels that we get using the data set that we have already annotated, thanks to Davide. So David and Valerio, thank you very much. I hope you're going to have a great weekend. And to our audience, please don't us live, or if you are watching a recorded session, please click subscribe on the YouTube button. And yeah, you're going to be updated with our alerts and with our next episodes. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.